we start with a big recap of what happened with Bloodline, Cody and Seth the other week, and The Rock's music. The Rock's new music? New old music?
Oh, my God.
He has his entrance, which is, of course...
Oh, my God.
The manner is strong.
Slap in the arm. Wilbourn, this wasn't perfection. It gave me an erection. I couldn't believe it. Like, he's not even made it past the first bit of the stage, and that was segment of the year.
Yes.
Like... The Hollywood Rock comparison is made in the most glowing of terms. Like people that lived through it or people that have rewatched in any kind of rewatch, whether or not you're watching Raw or not, remember that period. It's preserved in amber because The Rock turned up, was 50 times the performer of just about everybody else on the roster. I say just about everybody else because he was 100 times the performer of Triple H, the World Heavyweight Champion. He put the friggin' Hurricane over.
Yeah.
He set up a match with Steve Austin that really had no right because, as we knew, Austin, as it turned out, had these horrendous health problems. Rock was only going to be sticking around for another month after this. So the stakes had never really been lower, and yet it still felt massive and WrestleMania worthy. Like 17 and 15, this was not.
No.
And yet it was a special bit of work. He had, like, obviously taken a few acting classes, and suddenly Brian Gewirtz's scripting came alive a bit through The Rock, cinema star that is now a special guest in wrestling. And then even put Goldberg, like, over on his way out.
All the way over, yeah.
Left. Triple H squashed the Hurricane. Triple H made Goldberg go in 20 minutes, pinned him in the Elimination Chamber. It was like, I think The Rock's better, guys. So there's a reason why that, and that run is so beloved.
Yes.
But not discussed enough reason why that run is so beloved is the friggin' entrance theme where they slowed it down, where they made him feel like he was just too big for all of this. Real heelish stuff. How dare you leave us for, like, Holly Weird. So much so that you've got your own theme now. And it was the one ingredient I didn't even know was missing from this near perfect 2024 Rock run.
Oh.
Completed it. Tick, tick, motherfucking tick.
Yes.
Right? I saved your beat there.
Thanks.
I noticed Sidgwick Raw ahead on the Raw preview this morning, so I'm going to try and keep the streak going to Mania. Just perfection before he'd even made it to the ring.
And there is a question I want to ask you about what this means for the rest of the WWE roster, but we'll talk about it after I go through the segment.
Nobody else can have the theme.
No.
We're not letting somebody else have it when he leaves.
Austin Theory, congratulations.
Christian, when he left, right? Christian got peeps.
Yes.
Because he was like, you've got the people. And Rock was like, I'll do out with anyone. What you need me for a month? Well, Christian, we're kind of looking to go over. Right, I've got the people, he's got the peeps because he's like an inferior version of me. Like 25 years later, like, he's still got his peeps. Everybody gets something.
Yeah.
You're not getting Karen Cross's music.
And The Rock gets everything. He comes out here in Memphis, a huge baby face, despite everything that's gone on.
Less than I do.
And he gets on the mic and he says that he's been scorching cities lately, but tonight's different. This city's different. He talks about first working as Flex Kavana in Memphis, Tennessee. He admits he didn't really know what he was thinking back then. So he does, finally, The Rock has come back home. Always hits me.
Memphis, Tennessee. Oh.
He promises some fun. It's been years. He says, look, this is in Memphis. This is the home of the blues and Elvis and Rock loves all that. And he wants to sing with everyone. He's got Max from War and Treaty. And
in the
Yellow
crowd
Pete.
at the War and Treaty in the crowd, was it on Raw or something?
Oh, maybe,
They're
yeah.
kicking around recently at another show.
And Yellow P's there as well. He gets a nice reaction and he gets
fan.
into it. I normally attempt to emulate certain performances or certain readings of or verbatim readings of what goes down on the Fed. I'm not going to even attempt to copy this. I'm just going to read what he said. Because I've got that verbatim, obviously. That's where my focus has been this morning. The Rock is going to come and lay the smacketh down on your blonde Cody ass and your best friend, the clown. I'm going to whip your ass and break that back, or maybe I'll just beat you with my fanny pack. And he's got the picture of him in the fanny pack.
Look at the Titans.
Of course.
Oh, my God.
And then he turns his attention to Cody specifically. He says, Dusty's youngest son was just what he feared. He tried to raise him right, but he turned out too weird. Picture of Stardust. That's when Dusty said with total frustration that drugs and cheap condoms was a bad combination.
Love that, right? Because I thought he's going left. He's going to, should have just stuck with masturbation. He went right, and he made a joke about a broken condom. That's the levels. That's a great one.
He knows he keeps Cody awake to know he wasn't planned and he was a mistake. Then he turns his attention to Seth Rollins. Cackling and dancing is all that you do. No wonder your wife is more popular than you. You're so desperate to make them cheer, but The Rock is going to make your title disappear.
Oh, you keep saying that.
Yeah.
Is he going to just spin the belt?
Yeah.
Like, he's not saying it in the way that, like, I'm going to beat you so bad that Drew McIntyre's going to squash you. He's not mentioned his name once.
Nah.
Just twice now. He's like, I could just make that go on. I'm the boss.
He's just going to be there on the Raw after WrestleMania going, good job you won, Drew. Otherwise, that title would be down.
Just Triple H, nice belt you introduced there.
Just the reverse Triple H on the Raw after Mania. We don't need that belt. You're simply an embarrassment, son. Just like Jay Morant when he's waving a gun. It's a local football sports reference, I should say. Didn't really get it, but it got a great reaction.
Imagine gun waving. Yeah.
And then he turns his attention to, well, me and Hamflett, the Cody Crybabies. You're also entitled, obnoxious and brash. Some of you have sex, but you have to pay cash. Your hero's going to bleed and need some stitches. So what about that, you crybaby bitches? Huge pap, obviously.
Yeah, you never saw it coming.
There's some lines, Hamflett, that you just don't cross. You can all kiss the ass of the final boss and repeat. And the crowd, unsurprisingly, bloody loved this, as you and I did as well.
Repeat was great. Final boss's nickname is superb because
you sort of nicked that from Roman.
Yeah, well, this is it. It's absolutely there to, I don't know, like sort of prick at the wafer-thin notion that he is a level below Roman, having acknowledged him. You know, the thing the other week where like Roman wasn't reaching the wrist for mana.
No.
He was reaching it for stop him talking. So that is theoretically the current setup, the order to these things. Cody and Seth, no different. We are now let into no different. He's calling like the final boss. Well, maybe talk about this after this segment has concluded. It's like the fourth week in a row since this match has existed, and I've basically changed my mind on how the match is going to finish for the fourth week in a row.
We could barely decide on the news how it starts, i.e. who comes out in what order.
There's nothing this match hasn't got.
No.
Like, the only thing working against this match, and I never thought I would say this, and I'm doubting it even as I say it, is that it's all set up so wonderfully that the fact that like a lot of people, the majority of the people in the building on night 2 won't be seeing Cody and Roman for the same time. It might take them a little bit longer to just lock in because they'll have seen Cody and Roman in this setting. And this setting is going to be so incredible and otherworldly that then when you see them in the singles face-off, it might take a minute to reach the heat it had at bell time time last year.
Unless it's Bloodline rules, of course, which is exactly what I want. My allegiance to switch from night 1 to night 2.
Do we think if it is Bloodline rules, Rock's going to bring up that like PowerPoint presentation again, and everybody that is alive from that screen is going to be ringside?
So just cross them off,
Just like everyone ringside. No, I don't mean at the front row, the Rock's bought tickets. I mean stood in front of the barrier, they can attack Cody. You got like, I don't know, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Jey Uso fighting off as many people as possible.
So anyway, Rock takes the mic following that, replays the slap heard around the world. And he said, look, he slapped the taste out of my mouth, but I smiled about it. And a couple of days later, I was watching Cody on Raw. You know, all the attention was on him after that. And then we see Cody getting emotional about not being able to hand the title to his dad, but he's going to be able to hand it to his mom. And he's on the verge of tears, to which The Rock responds, "You got to be shitting me."
It was worse on Instagram as well. Yeah.
It was arguably even better.
I thought SmackDown was the blue brand, but I'll follow The Rock on socials.
Cody's not going to be giving anyone anything after Mania, but he's not going to focus on Cody right now. He's going to focus on Cody's Mama Rhodes. He knows she's watching. He knows she's listening. And she's not going to like it, but she's going to get to know The Rock. He's going to make Cody pay his family pay and Cody's mom pay after taking something away from The Rock. Night 1, he's going to beat Cody and Seth. Then night 2, Bloodline rules. Mama Rhodes wants her son to hand her the title. But that's staying around with the waist of Roman Reigns. But she is going to get a belt. She's going to get The Rock's belt. And he pulls out the Rock weight belt that we saw on Instagram, like you say. There's quite a few in this show, by the way. Whoop that trick chance, which I was very happy about. Trick Williams is over like Rover.
Bad news.
Go on.
I was excited for that too. That's something to do with local sports.
Disagree. It's a Trick Williams reference.
Okay.
and it will be forever.
Yeah.
Rock's going to beat Cody with his belt, make Cody bleed, beat him like a dog over and over. There might be some effing and Jeff in there again, actually. But he's going to stain the belt with Cody's blood. And then when he's done that and Roman's beat Cody, he's going to hand Michelle this blood-stained belt. It's going to be covered in his blood. It's going to be covered in her tears. She's going to be crying like her son. And Rock is going to walk over to her and whisper in her ear, Michelle, what can I say except you're welcome if you smell what the final boss is cooking?
Oh my God.
My only question to you regarding this is The Rock too good?
Well, yeah. 1997 to present, realistically. Save for periods where I think there was some reasonable doubt, The Rock has proven beyond that once he locks in, once he's actually committed to a bit, and for a lot of years, that bit was simply going out there and going, "Alala willy poo poo," effectively. But the bit he is committed to, since Vegas, let's be honest, like the Goosebumps, we don't need to tap for mana. It's just fun to do so because the Goosebumps haven't gone down since Vegas.
No.
Like as soon as that pivot took place and The Rock locked in, it's all been gold. So this is like not for me to like look this gift horse in the mouth, but it's just one more week of greatness from the great one.
Yeah.
Like I can understand. This was the week where I could understand where the Rock concert is designed ostensibly for The Rock to mock the crowd, to mock the local sports heroes, all that sort of stuff. We had this the last time before. One of your favourite things to go back and revisit is the original Rock concert of 2003 where the Lakers beat the Kings in me.
Sacramento.
But the crowd boos and then pops.
Yes.
It's that reaction where, oh, you bastard, way! Like, he loves it. It's The Rock in Toronto, you know, that like, it's all that sort of stuff. He's a force of nature in this setting. Kind of the opposite to Black Adam, actually. Like, this is where he belongs, being as entertaining as he is. It is sort of impossible to boo. And as a wrestler, like, gets the trunks and boots on at WrestleMania, I would like him to square that circle. I would like him to do what he did against Hulk Hogan when he had to think on the fly and be the bad guy. I would like him to embrace that side of it because I think Cody and Seth need to be the all-conquering hero. Even if they fail, and we'll maybe get to that, they need to be presented as the all-conquering heroes when it comes to match time. And when The Rock's out there with the rest of the bloodline, you are reminded, oh, he's associating with them. Ugh. Like, we got Cody over here as the proper guy. And, The Rock. But out there on his own was the first time where there was like, there's kind of no distractions. He was almost lifted from the storyline and he was just like, he was embracing being as popular as he is, no matter if he gets back to the line about the sports team and then especially the lines about Cody's mother.
Jeez.
The Moana reference, which he has kept in the back pocket and waited for the exact right moment to use it. Like my kids would be wowed at seeing The Rock on TV if they would ever watch wrestling, which they fucking won't. But like, they'd be wowed at seeing The Rock on television and be like, oh, Christ, it's Maui. And then delivering the Maui line, but in the most sinister way imaginable, that he's going to hand a
super close up as well,
a blood and sweat stained belt
and
over to the mother of the victim of his attack. It was like, we've got a little inadvertent litmus test about this sort of content, haven't we? And like all three Dudley boys this morning shared the same anecdote of, yeah, I showed it to my wife. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me three. Yeah, they all popped.
Yeah.
Like, it's got like Moana at this point is probably The Rock's most universal reference point. I dare say if we dropped a Black Adam reference in there, I wouldn't even get it. So like, and he hasn't done any yet because everything he's done has popped. So I don't know if that's ever going to be forthcoming. So long answer to a short question. He is too good, but I welcome this while we have it because we won't forever. And if people are smart, they ask him questions while he's around. They try and get any sort of, not a rub, because ultimately he's obviously going to share the screen with the people he's involved with, but get the benefit of his presence and get the, like, sit down with him and see if there's anything. Maybe he can't learn it from somebody like The Rock because he kind of elevated himself beyond wrestling a long time ago, but if there's things to get from someone, get them from Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, I disagree somewhat with the take of he's too good and that's detrimental to WWE on a couple of fronts. yes, there were concerns, and I agreed with them, but I had more confidence than others with regards to Seth Rollins. I always thought Cody was going to be fine. He's Cody. He's going to, he can take the shots that The Rock's landing and Roman and, Paul Heyman and stuff. He's still Cody. He's still going to be beloved. He's still the guy that everyone wants to finish the story on night 2 of WrestleMania, even if, myself included, some people want him to lose on night 1.
Well, yeah.
Seth was more of a concern. Roman's Roman. And I think, if anything, people saying, oh, isn't he overshadowed by The Rock? Yeah, that's kind of part of it. Like, he's never been the champion he thinks he is because he's had to cheat at every opportunity, and he's inflated the numbers as well by not wrestling very often either. But I also think, with people saying, oh, well, what's that like for the rest of the roster? If you tune in, you're like, oh, it's nice, but it's not The Rock. I get that. I understand that yes, it's not The Rock, but I think it's also part of the fact that as I was going to say a day one Rock fan, a year 2 or 3 Rock fan, because that's when I kind of got into it. He was the gateway. He was the reason I got into wrestling. He's my favorite wrestler of all time, as I've said on a million occasions. But I'd watch him, and then I'd go, oh, I like that Scotty 2 Hotty guy. Yeah. And the 2 cool lads, they seem awesome. And I like so-and-so and so-and-so. And I think arguably that's the thing that they're trying to do with WWE. There's no point trying to have Austin Theory go toe-to-toe with him on the microphone, but people could tune in and go, bloody hell, that Joaquin Wilde's really talented, or oh, I like and he's not The Rock, but I like the chops on LA Knight, or oh, that's really unfair on Bayley. I'm gonna get behind her at WrestleMania. So I think, what's the phrase? The rising
tide raises all
rising
ships.
Rock raises all wrestlers.
That's the phrase.
That's it. Get on a t-shirt with greatness echoes greatness.
This is another as well. I want that t-shirt.
Rainmaker, more like Fishmonger.
This is another case as well of, I think, and I understand it. I'm in this point again, because of that YouTube comment, if nothing else, I've decided to trust WWE's process. Okay. I'm going to overpraise the Fed because the people want it.
They're the listening company.
Indeed. I think there is a little underlying panic of the era of the WrestleManias, which is relatively recent, where all the stars have turned up in February, and then you get a big show in March/April, and then strap in for 11 months and not caring about anybody. When's the Rumble again? Yeah, huge problem, massive problem. They couldn't build stars, they couldn't create long-standing stories that you cared about, all that sort of stuff. Vince McMahon was useless for near 20 years. Hollywood Rock was based on Vince McMahon being useless all the way back in 2003. And so much of that, I think, sticks around now. We have in The Rock a star of yesteryear, tagging with Roman Reigns, like a part-timer at this point. The world champion, but in any other name, a part-timer. Whilst Cody Rhodes, the person who is absolutely going to be the guy for the next however long, and Seth Rollins, this guy that desperately wants to be the guy, works hard for it, but can't ever be
workhorse.
Yeah. Feel like A, they could be overshadowed, but B, the whole show could be overshadowed by that. So I get that, almost that hangover criticism, but I just don't buy it or believe in it anymore. I don't subscribe to it personally. I think I think last year was Triple H's big statement of intent of almost no legends. Cena, you get out there early. I don't even care if you fob it off, and wow, did he fob it off. Get out there early, do something in the daylight with Austin Theory, who I also don't like. Like I'm saying as Triple H, but that's also in first person. And then let's get on to the people I've built and the matches I've built and the stories I've told. And that was pretty much it, wasn't it? But it was still a double Bloodline weekend for the main events. It was still relying on a lot of people. Like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were brand new to the top of the WrestleMania card, but they were far from brand new to WWE. Yeah. It's just for the first time, we're seeing a lot of these wrestlers get the chances and the opportunities to be in engaging long-term stories. And if you look underneath this, not just the matches that were set up on this SmackDown that we're going to talk about, but if you look up and down this WrestleMania card, it's still full of things that are basically the weekly TV wrestling. Yes. You've still got Gunther in a massive IC title match, Sami Zayn / Gable and Sami Zayn.
Jimmy and Jay's been built since last WrestleMania, effectively.
Jimmy and Jay's virtually a one-year build, but at very least from SummerSlam. The tag team ladder match, whilst not necessarily my cup of tea, is basically an advertisement, a flex of, we've got those tag teams now. Like, I've actually pushed tag team wrestling. The women's title programs are big time. Like, Bayley and Io aren't going to main event, and more's the pity. But Rhea and Becky is about the biggest women's match the company can book. So I think there's loads of, nobody is going to be thinking, oh, well, in 3 weeks, heading in that Raw SmackDown run between WrestleMania and Backlash, this is rubbish now because The Rock's gone. Some people will, but I think those people would have thought that anyway.
Yes.
I think a lot of these full buildings are going to stay full after The Rock has gone. Like,
Josh Brown said he's going to tune in for but he's only tuning in for The Rock.
Yeah. Like, while he's watching, what's he going to see where he's going to be like, to your too cool point, what's he going to see where he's going to think, like, Fed's pretty goated, actually. I need to see the follow-through now this is happening. And then you just never know. I think, at this point, to assume that, like, the full buildings, the hot crowds, all that sort of stuff, are exclusively as a result of someone like The Rock would be pretty dumb and bad faith. This has been happening, like, for virtually all of 2023.
Tip them over the top, but yes.
Yeah. Like, I would argue the result of WrestleMania 39 and the post-WrestleMania Raw was the only moment where a lot of people, myself included, are locked in on WWE, thought, that's gone.
Yeah.
Like, and we put that at the feet of one man, basically, and then he was gone as well. So I think I get the criticism, but I just don't particularly agree with it, and WrestleMania will show us how legit it is. I am now thinking The Rock might pin Cody Rhodes on night 1 and not even turn on night 2, because if The Rock's about and there are rumours that there's one more match in him, like Rock and Cody for the belt is
SummerSlam.
Pretty huge, isn't it? I'm almost thinking you've got so much meat on the Rock and Cody bone that you don't even do the Rock Roman turn now.
You beat Roman, but you haven't beaten the final boss.
Yeah, which Roman hates. Having to hear that, where Roman, even if he's not even on telly, if he's just running around naked on the island of relevancy, like, Paul Heyman's got the message over to him. So I just think there's, at this point, a Rock and Cody singles match, maybe even before a Rock and Roman one.
Yeah.
There's 2. The Rock's come back. There's 2 more singles matches. It's not just special attraction Dwayne.
You could do SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and then you've got the Rumble to establish Cody's challenger at Mania, for example.
Yeah. Like, I don't know Rock's filming schedule. I don't know his availability.
He's doing something from May to August, but it's late August, so arguably...
Yeah, I just...
could speed run it.
Doesn't feel like...
just do Instagram videos.
And again, you got to remember who you're speaking of. The context of the Rock you're speaking to is the same person that over a 7-day period realised that him challenging Roman wasn't going to take. Yeah. So he's already listened, and he's already sort of thought, well, we can rethink this, we can rejig this. Who's to say, having done it and seen the lay of the land, like, he's in this, he's in wrestling, and he's knowing that Cody's making these towns and selling these buildings out. Why would he not want to extend that in his legit position as the CEO or whatever it is, like that position he's got on the board? I just think they're all too clever, and I think people should submit a little bit more to The Rock as an entertaining figure than to panic about his status.
Any final words on the Rock concert?
It was good. It was absolutely shoot good. Not even conditional good. It was just shoot good. The Rock is cooking. In fact, it will even say so now at the start of his rebadge theme, because if you remember, before it doesn't have the whole, it just says, "It's cooking." Prince superstar.
Yeah.